To make these lovely Christmas ornaments, we're going to use a pattern called Deck the Boughs by Kathy Schmitz. And you can buy this pattern on Kathy Schmitz's website, and I have left the link in the video description below. You can buy it in two formats. You can get this paper pattern, or you can also buy a downloadable PDF file. We also need a creamy white wool fabric or linen fabric, and the materials list calls for a Moda Mokai linen unbleached. In addition to these materials, the pattern calls for a white for behind the ornament. However, I've chosen a burgundy color, which is a SPARGO wool, and it's called dark shears, and I'll leave that link below if you want to try it. To mark the pattern onto the fabric, I like to show you this marking pen. The blue end, when you trace the pattern on, this can be removed with just a little bit of a damp cloth afterwards. And the purple end is air erasable. When you mark that on, it fades over time, but you have to get your embroidery done before the marks fade, or you have to mark it again. Make sure you test this on your fabric before you start. Make sure it comes out easily. For a light box, to transfer the pattern onto the fabric, you have three choices. You can pick up a commercial light box. That isn't necessary. If it's daylight, you can tape your pattern to a window and tape the fabric over it and trace through just using daylight. And as well, I can show you how to make a homemade light box. First step, the pattern gives us two templates, 3-inch, which is for the backing, 3 1/4, which is for the embroidery fabric. I have made this little template, but I made it slightly bigger, 3 1/2 inch. First of all, what you want to do, make sure that your hoop will fit on there, and I'm going to trace around that. Alright, now I have the area where I'm going to do my embroidery, and I'm going to transfer the pattern right in the middle with a light box. To make our homemade light box, look for a transparent tray. You need a regular household flashlight, and we're going to just set it underneath here. I'm going to do the snowflake. So I have centered the snowflake here. I will just simply trace it. It doesn't need to be perfect. The first one we're going to start with is the snowflake. We'll see that it uses the blue, and you can use your DMC floss, and it's using the chain stitch, the lazy daisy stitch, a stem stitch, and a French knot. Feel free to use a needle threader. I'm stubborn and I don't. I'm going to double this wool thread. If you're using DMC, use 2 strands. Any embroidery hoop is sufficient if it's the right size. I'm going to put my needle right up through the center, and I will start with the stem stitch. And that's on these, the ones with the lazy daisy at the end. So you simply put the needle in here, take a little bite, and sometimes the threads get out of sync. Just straighten them out, gently pull them. And we are all the way to the end. Now that's one stem stitch. At the end we have lazy daisy stitches. So put your needle up at the end of the stitch. Wrap a loop around like this. Put your needle back down where it came up. Bring it up at the end of the lazy daisy and pull it through, and you have a nice loop like that. And then you pin it all together by putting your needle down here. And that's one. Right here, French knot. And it says 3 wraps. Alright, so for this, bring your needle up the back. Now, I want you to wrap the thread around your needle 3 times. 3 times, and then you're going to place your needle back down through the same spot. Now, the secret to a good French knot is to tug that snugly around your needle. And gently pull it through. And again, just tug a little bit so that those 3 wraps are snug. And then very gently bring your thread, pull your thread all the way through, and there's our French knot. Okay, I'm going to come up through the center again, and now I'm going to do the chain stitch, which is right here. And chain stitch is somewhat like a lazy daisy stitch. So you bring a loop, bring your needle up, oh, let's say around here, and there we go. And sometimes your yarn can, your thread can twist. Just untwist it a little bit. So we have 1 chain. Now we go back down through there, and we bring our needle back up approximately the same space. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, there's our 2nd chain. And we'll do another one here. Wrap it round. Bring your needle down through that loop. And bring it up again. And more. Now, as your thread gets shorter, it gets a little bit harder to do these chains, so you'll want to, you don't want to waste thread. I don't like to do that, but you can cut it off, tie it in the back, and add another one. Okay, I'm going to get 1 more chain out of this to the end here. There we go. Now, that's a little bit out of sync. One stretched longer than the other. And I'm going to just pull on, tug on the side. Of course, I didn't find the right side. Tug on the side that's longer than the other. There we go. All right. And there's our final chain. And then to finish it off, you just go through to the back. Now we have some straight stitches on either side of this, and I think I have enough thread to do some of those. And so just come up here and down on the other side. And just do that 3 times for this design. Two, and there's the 3rd one. Now I've pretty much run out of thread, so I'm going to tie that off in the back. Now that has shown us 4 different stitches: the stem stitch, lazy daisy, the 3 wrap French knot, and the chain stitch, and the straight stitch. That was 5. Now remember, perfection is not required here. That's a lot of the charm of handcrafting, is it's every stitch is unique and placed individually. And that's the last stitch. The last thing I'm going to show you with this design is I just have a damp tissue. That's just a dampened tissue. Paper towel would do, any kind of clean cloth that's a bit damp. And we're going to keep the circle because that's our cutting line, but I'm just going to dab this with the tissue, and you see how that blue mark comes right off, and there, completely gone. And that's just a little bit of dampness. I'm just gonna, in case some of the ink came through. And we're done. The next design I'm going to show you is the holly and berries. This takes 3 colors, dark green, light green, and red. And remember, you're fine using your DMC floss. This has 3 stitches I'm going to show you. One is called the stem fill, the other is a back stitch, and we also have a satin stitch. The satin stitch, you fill in the berries, and the stem fill, you fill in the leaves. This is the satin stitch. Just bring your thread up and take a little nip. Put these stitches close together and follow the outline, and so that you fill in this whole space with the red color. Satin stitch works good if it's a small space. Even if you miss a space and you you kind of go over too far, you can always just fill in the space you missed. See, there's too much of a gap there, so just go back and fill that in. And keep going all the way along. These don't have to be perfect. Remember, perfection is not required. Now, here's a back stitch. And you bring your thread up. There. And what we're doing is you just take a nip there and then bring it up over here. And so it's called a back stitch because you're kind of going backwards. Then place your needle down where the other stitch ended. Come up again. And so you're going around this berry. See, when I was doing those stitches, I got a little bit off track. We're going to go back and fill them in. Put that last stitch in there. And then I'm going to go back here and fill in the little space that I have that gap. And we have one red berry. Now I'm going to finish the other 3 and be right back. All right, I finished my 3 berries. For the leaves, for the holly leaves, we use stem fill. I'm going to show you that now. And it's a stem stitch, and what you're doing is filling in the whole space. So I'm going to come up here. And remember, we did our stem stitch before, a single one. We do the same thing to the end. I like to do that just so I have a little extra. All right, now I am going to go back down the other side around the scalloped edges of the holly leaf. And we just follow the line. And to this little point, to this little line, and continue following that. To get the curve, take a little shorter stitches, and it'll follow the curve. There's the other point, and back to the start. Now I start to fill in right there. Now I can turn my work around, just kind of bring my stitch up here, turn it around, go the other direction, and just keep filling in. And okay, I'm going to do the other half of this leaf in light green and finish the other 2 leaves, and I'll be right back. There we go. This is the pine boughs. It's a very dense design with a lot going on in here. The last stitch I want to show you though is called the fan leaf. This is a very pretty stitch. Come up through the bottom and through the top. Now place your needle as close to the first stitch as possible. And on this side you just go down a couple of threads so it's slightly shorter. Through there again, same on the other side, and up again through the same approximate stitch, down a little, another stitch or 2, another thread or 2, and same on the other side, and then we're going to do that one more time with the shortest stitch. There. Just a little bit shorter. Right about here. And that's it. I have finished the pine boughs, and you can see how cute the fan leaf stitches are. We had French knots, that's the stem stitch, and the bow is stem fill. I'm just going to turn it upside down. I have this very handy little crafting iron. I'll put a link below where you can pick it up on Amazon. And all I'm going to do is very gently, and always press from the back, onto a soft surface. And that allows your stitches to remain standing up. You don't want to press those flat. The last step, so cut out around our edge. Take our needle. This is a good strong, it's actually a quilting thread. Here's how I like to tie a knot. Wrap it around your needle 3 or 4 times. And then pull it over the end of the needle. And just pull it all the way through. And then you have a very nice firm knot. I'm going to cut a little of that tail off. Now this is where we gather around the outside edge so that we can fit it around the cardboard or wood 2-inch disc. Alright, that's a running stitch. Go all the way around the outside edge. Leave at least 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. About 1/8 of an inch. If you get the stitches too close, it will they'll just pull out. Depends on the type of fabric you're using. The stitches you're making are about 1/8 of an inch or a little slightly more. 4 millimeters. Alright, once you stitch all the way around to the start, just overlap by a stitch. Don't catch your needle in that thread. You need to be able to pull this freely. Take the needle off. So at this step, I have a bit of our craft glue and my 2-inch cardboard disc. You may have been able to pick up wooden 2-inch discs, and the quilt batting, which I like to cut just a little bit bigger so that it wraps around the edge. I like to put a little glue on here, center that on the batting. There we go. Okay, the next step is to center this design on that disc and start to pull that, and make sure as you pull it that it is centered. Also make sure that the batting is not puckered. Again, perfection is not necessary when you're doing these crafts. No one's going to notice any little flaw. Alright, now this is why we need a good strong thread, because we're pulling it quite tight. And it's mostly centered. Alright, thread the needle. Pull snugly. Set your finger on there. And make a couple of knots in the thread while you're holding, snugly with your finger so it doesn't spring apart. And that's pretty well enough to hold it for us. All right, now do another couple of knots to keep that snug. Draw this through a little bit. Do a couple more knots. You don't want this to spring apart. And snip the end. This is the chain stitch fill. So I showed you the chain stitch. The mitt is done with the chain stitch, filling in all the space inside the mitt. All of the 12 ornaments are embroidered. So the next step, I'm going to stabilize this backing, cut it out with pinking shears, and apply it to the back. And I'm using a double-sided adhesive. This is called Heat and Bond Feather Light. It is an iron-on double-sided adhesive. Works very nicely. This is the instructions you remove, and you simply iron it on, let it cool, and then you peel it off. We lay the backing over top, and you simply need to repeat the ironing until the glue is activated. Wool is a natural fiber and tolerates quite a bit of heat. If you're using a polyester or a synthetic, you need to turn the heat down. The iron will melt the fabric. I've prepared several. I have one finished. I have a 3-inch cookie cutter. This is a tool you can use to draw chalk lines.
And I'm simply going to trace around the outside. Alright, this is my circle. These are my pinking shears. And there we go. I have cut the cords at 25 inches each. I have some small pieces of the gold craft wire, and I have the little jingle bells. So feed the wire through the bell, fold this cord in half, and get your bell attached approximately halfway. And I just hold it on and twist the wire. You can find these in jewelry making craft stores, and you just twist that until it's securely on the cord. I have a few more bits of the gold wire, and then I'm going to wrap the cord just to the right size for the design, and hold that together approximately right at the top, and then I'll just take the wire and twist it together to hold the two ends of the cord together, and that will fit right around. And there's the snowflake we started with. And there we go. Alright, so I have glue on it. I'll put the bell at the bottom, tuck that wire underneath, fit this around, make sure the bell's at the bottom. That's how you fit the cord around the ornament.
Please remember to press like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.